So it's really cold in New York right now. It's really cold, frankly, in the entire East Coast of the country right now. And I thought maybe I should pop out a video because I can stay warm doing it, and that's always a good thing. I want to talk a little bit about the return of money into the art market and really what that means and how people might be looking at it in a few different ways. Think of this as a part 2 from the last video I did, which I think I made that video 10 years ago or something like that. It was more like 3 months ago, but it feels like a long, long time. What we have to understand too is that in December, January, we had more than 25 artworks sell for over $10 million. That's not 25 adding up to 10 million, that's 25 at 10 million plus, which is a really healthy state of affairs for auction houses and collectors and dealers. And that's a really great thing. And so what that means is we're looking at a return to buying by the top end of the market. And the top end of the market is kind of where all the sexy money is, and it's where people like to talk about what the art world's really about. That could be true, that could be false. I tend to think the middle of the art world is kind of really what the art world talks about more often than not, and really what needs to be followed. But the high end is always going to be there. The high end will ebb and flow, but we're seeing that what was ebbing all through spring and summer has now kind of kicked back up in the wintertime. But here's a thing too that we have to remember. Sometimes right before the New Year's is a good time for corporations, foundations to kind of jettison some money to avoid tax situations. And art's always a great place to put money into that. So we're not really going to know for sure whether money's come into the art market until kind of towards the end of the first quarter of this year. Right now it's January 2026. So let's look at it by March, end of March, early April. We'll know more. Because at that point we'll have a couple auctions happen and we'll have a couple art fairs happen and we'll see how sales continue to go in those places. And that's going to be something that tells us whether that money is indeed coming back. So there's a few other points I kind of want to talk about. And I think this one's kind of important. I think the speculator market has finally kind of dulled a little bit. And I think that's really important for the market on the whole. Having the speculator market kind of simmer down a bit lets people understand that what they're buying they should be holding on to for a longer time. You know, speculators, or flippers as they're sometimes called, tend to have a piece of art 1 year, maybe 2 years. They buy it for a low price, they sell it for a higher price. That's, of course, the prospect of what they want to do anyway. And that has kind of dimmed. There's been a few things that have happened. I think galleries kind of know who these people are now. They're not selling to them as aggressively, and they're not letting as much work go out to auction as they used to. And I think that's really healthy for new artists. New artists need to build up that price level and have a really stable base to it. Speculators kind of disrupt that. And I know that the current financial world loves the idea of the disruptor, but this is a disruption to kind of a very long, stable bit of business the art world has had for a long time. And I think it's kind of great that we're kind of finding a way to limit that. The other thing we're seeing is that collectors are just dialing down what they're willing to spend on things a little bit. And I think that's a good call. I think that you've always got people in markets who are trying to push things a little bit higher to see where it goes and see where it goes. A great example of that's in the fashion world. When you've looked at what Chanel and Dior and Hermes have been doing with their prices, really pushing them aggressively hard. They've lost some people, they've kept some people, but I think even they're starting to now readjust things back down just a little bit. You don't want to see high-end luxury products, artwork, high-end fashion start falling in price, not into a free fall, but readjusting itself in the 10 to 15%. Not a bad thing that could happen to anyone, and not a bad thing that really happens to those businesses. And lastly, the auction houses, I think, are just taking a smarter approach to what they're putting in on their high-end auctions, and also the numbers they're attaching to them. You know, not every painting is a $80 million painting. Not every painting is a $10 million painting, for that matter. And collectors, of course, want to see these numbers go up and up and up and up and up. But on the flip side, if you have one really big jump, but the market's not ready for all the other works that are going to flood in behind it, that's going to be an anomaly, and that really hurts the auction houses. Anomalies hurt auction houses. A one-time thing is good for one person, but thinking that's going to happen again and again and again is really a fool's errand, and that's not good on the overall financial health of the market. So that's where we're at. So let's do a quick recap here, and here's really the bottom line to all this. Is the money back in the art world? We don't know yet. We all want to say yes because everyone wants to paint rosy financial pictures of everything. But if you're looking at the price of gold skyrocketing right now, Trump's tariffs being dropped on everybody in the world for whatever reason, unstable political regimes all over the world, we've got a lot of unrest in the world. That's really not great for the financial part of our world. One will affect the other. So with that, is money back in the art world? We'll see. It's probably the best answer. Let's look back at this again in the springtime, and we'll see where we're at. With that, it's a quick one today. Thanks for your time, and I'll talk to you soon. Like and subscribe if you can. I'll see ya.